So today we're changing the fuel filter on my own Mercedes GLE. It's a 2016 model. We've got a man filter, which I believe is OEM. So let's get on with it. First of all, you need to remove this cover. You need to unclip that. Sometimes you need to release the clips, sometimes they just release, and then release the clips and remove the engine cover. Underneath you have an ECU module, which I don't want to uncouple, so I'm going to move it around while I'm doing the work. The fuel filter is down here. Just try and get you in for a closer shot. Just see it down there. We need to remove a few things to get to it. Just make sure we've got you in a clear shot. So the first thing we need to remove is what's commonly known as the batwing. Just need to release these clips. And this one is underneath. A little bit fiddly, that one, with it being underneath. But once those two wires are off, it's then a case of releasing the clips on either side of it. There is also what looks like another clip there to release. This isn't a job I've done before, so this is the first time I've done one of these. So it's new to me as well. Just remove that one, and then see if I can get in and remove the clip that holds the batwing onto the turbo. Obviously, I don't want to be dropping anything. These should then release. That's one side off. It's the other side. There is. There we go. As you can see, it's a little bit crusty, so I'll be giving that a clean before it goes back on. We're now starting to get a little bit of access. That clip could have actually stayed on. We didn't need to remove that one. So you can see now we've got the fuel filter under there, but we need to remove this pipe, which there's a few Torx bits. It's T27 on the top. Now before I take that the whole way out, I'm going to have a magnet ready, because we don't want to be dropping any bolts or anything down into the engine, because that would be an absolute nightmare to find. You'll have to bear with me, because like I say, this is the first one of these I've ever done. Now this pipe was held on there, and then down here. I'll just see if I can get a torch on to show you. You have to remove this and drop it forward. So there's some Torx and a few more bits down there. So you need to loosen the bolts on that, so that will drop forward, which allows you then to release that pipe up and out and off. There is some seals, we need to be careful not to damage the seals. I'm going to get another torch in so I can see what I'm taking off. I will just show you. So I believe it's that bolt there. That one obviously releases the pipe. And I believe there's one underneath as well, which I'm not really going to be able to show you with a camera. But once we've got that off, I don't want to disconnect the ECU on the top. I don't like moving all the wires, but I don't want to disconnect it and then end up with having any problems reconnecting it. So you can see there's a little bit of movement on this pipe, but we need to give us some more movement on here. So first of all, I'm going to remove that bolt. Which is an E12. Nope, might be the next size down. So yep, that is an E10. Again, we don't want to drop anything. So once we've got that E10 off, yep, you can see that you're going to have to remove that plastic and give some kind of resonator. So get down to the next E10, which is holding that. I believe there is another one underneath, which may be a little bit fiddlier to get to. This is a job that I should have done on the service on my car a couple of months ago, but what I wanted to do was do a video. Obviously it's not one I've done before, so the video is going to be me finding my way doing this job. I believe the bolt that I'm slackening down here it may come out, but it may also be, no, it does come out. I thought it may be recessed in the plastic and with a little retainer so it couldn't come out. You need to make sure you remember which bolt's which, because some are longer than others. And you don't want to put a long one in where a short one should go, because you can cause damage. So the other one is just underneath here on the left. Just using a stubby ratchet to get into that because it's a little bit more awkward. But I can feel all this is coming loose now. Again, it's another E10. All the bolts holding this resonator are E10. Just try and finish it off with my fingers, because what I don't want to do is drop it and lose it. So that's another long one. So basically, the one on the top that's holding the pipe retainer on, that's a short one, and the others are a long one. So now I am able to move this, and we should, yeah, there we go. So that's released off the pipe. There's a little rubber gasket, which when we're putting it all back together, I'm going to grease all the seals to make sure that things slide back on nicely. And what we should be able to do now is slide that pipe forward and carefully remove it. It's a little bit of a tight fit. It has got a hose clip on it actually, which I believe is attached, which, let's have a look, may have to take that off first. It is behind the hose, so I can't really see how it's attached. It is just gonna clip off. There we go, little hose clip. We should now be able to lift this out. carefully, not damaging anything. I have to pry that to the side a little bit, and we've got that hose off. And we have now got full access to the fuel filter. We've got 2 reusable clips that we need to release on that, and an electrical connector. So the electrical connector is now removed. I am gonna get the hoover in and just have a little clean around some areas. There is a few little bits of leaves and things like that. So I'm just, there's some padding and things that disintegrated in the past. Let's have a look. So there is a bolt which is holding the fuel filter in, just coming round this side, so I can have a look and see what that is. It looks like a 4mm hex. We obviously need to release that. And that will allow us to lift the filter up, so that probably won't need to take it all the way out. Just slacken it a bit. Yep, that's allowing some movement. So we now need to get, I believe I've got the tool for these in here, but that's the tool you need to release and reuse these clips. Just need to be careful that you don't lose these into the engine. Even with the correct pliers, it's sometimes a little bit fiddly. So I'm just going to use a little screwdriver to release that one. There we go. So just to try and get you in a bit closer again so you can see what we're taking off. Those are the clips that you have to release. That's the electrical connector that's released. We have already undone the 4mm at the back, 4mm Allen key, so the filter is loose. We now just need to release these fuel pipes, and then we can remove the filter, switch it out for the new one. I have got some special pliers for taking the fuel pipes off. I try and remove them without that, which I'm going to try and do now. It can be very fiddly. If they've been on and not been moved in a while, they sometimes just don't want to budge, and you have to get on with the pliers, but they can damage the fuel pipes, which obviously is the last thing I want to do. So what I'm doing is just moving the clips off the pipes down the pipe a little bit, which I'm also struggling to do. That'll do 2 things for me. It will make sure that they're still on the pipe and they're less likely to drop off the end. Because if they drop off the end, we've obviously got an open turbo. We don't want anything flicking where you don't want it. Right, that's those moved down the pipes a little bit. I'm hoping that we can, yeah, these ones are not too bad. And we do a lot on Subarus, and the fuel pipe C's on. These, you can see, should be nice and easy to move. They're all, yeah, that one's straight off. See if we can get this one off. Obviously, don't like going too hard with the pliers. There we go. So we've got both pipes straight off. That come off nicely. So lift everything out of the way and give it a little wiggle, and out comes the filter. It is Don't know if you can see the writing on there, but this is the genuine Mercedes one, which is a MAN WK820/14, which is the same as what we're putting on. I'm led to believe these are self-bleeding. So once we've fitted this fuel filter, it's a case of turning the ignition on and it will fill it and bleed itself. I normally do a couple of ignition cycles. So I'm just having a good look, making sure, yep, everything looks the same. So all we need to do now is drop the new filter in. Just be careful, there is a hose at the side. So there now. Oh, the electrical connector is on. And both diesel pipes are on. So it's a case now of getting both these clips back on. So I'm just gonna tighten the fuel filter 4mm back up to hold the fuel filter in place. And then with these, they're easier to put on than they are to take off. That's one of them done. You just push them together, both of those are clipped on. I'll give you another look. Just try and keep out of the light for you. So you can see there, the filter's back in place, both pipes are on, the electrical connector's on, and it's all tightened in place. So it's just a case now of putting everything back the way it came off. Just going to give the Batwing a little clean because there's a little bit of oil residue on it. That looks a little bit cleaner now. So put a bit of grease around the green seal, and the other end just put a little bit of lithium grease around there as well, in there, so that when we push it over the seal on that, it goes on nicely without nipping it. And then on this end, obviously on the green seal, the same thing. I'm actually going to take the seal off and put the seal over this end first to make sure that it goes on nicely. Just going to put some fresh gloves on because these ones have disintegrated a little bit. So the first thing we need to do is just watch that pipe to the side slightly, drop that in, and then make sure that it just pushes nicely over there onto the seal. Obviously we have a Torx bolt that goes in the top. Which is a T27. Managed to get that back in without dropping it or it falling anywhere. That's nipped. So we then need to get this clip back on. So just be careful again with the ECU module. And then up behind here, we need to just get this clip back on. It needs to hold the water pipe. It is a little bit fiddly to get back on. Just need to get it over and in the right position, which is proving very difficult to do. It may be easier if we clip it onto the actual pipe first. This may be a case where I just need to open the clip up slightly. Yeah, that's it. So with a screwdriver, you can just push the back of the clip to open it up so it'll slide in, and then it locates with a little plastic peg. And that is now back on, holding that pipe in place. New glove destroyed already. So we need to get this located again. So I'll put a smidgen of grease on there, obviously, which should mean that the pipe will locate in nice and easily, which it has. Just trying to get the light in the right position. And obviously we have 2 long bolts, which to bolt this back in place. They line up nice and easily. I've got that bottom one started. The top one I want to put in with the magnet because it's just a little bit more fiddly, so I don't want to drop it. There's under trays under here, so I don't want to have to be taking them off to get back to a bolt. So although it's not lining up at the minute, that needs to come up a little bit. So luckily I can just get my hand in there. So what I need to do is just lift the pipe up a little bit that this is connected to, and then that has allowed the hole to line up. And once I've got that started, I can let go of it. Again, we'll use a small ratchet, a stubby ratchet with the E10 to put the bottom bolt tight. Bottom one's nipped, and then use the same small ratchet, but this time with an extension. I always use a lock-in extension on these so you don't lose the socket. Get this one tightened up. That tight. So then we've got the little metal retaining clamp which holds the pipe on. This is the one that has the small E10 bolt. Again, I'll take you in and let you have a look. So there's one there which we've tightened up just underneath. There is one there on the top, and then that whole unit comes forward, and then that is the retaining one just on the top, which has got the metal clip which holds the pipe on. It's a little bit more of an in-depth fuel filter this than what a lot of vehicles are. Normally, such as your Volkswagens, are just on the left hand side of the engine bay in full view, nice and easy to change. This one, a little bit more involved. So obviously, that's why I'm doing a video on it. Just lay that forward again. So we have the electrical connector back on. Both fuel pipes are tightened and clipped back on. We now just need to put the batwing back on. Again, just put a little smidgen of grease around the connector, just to make sure it doesn't nick when going back in on the silicone gasket. And then we also have to get this one back in. There's quite a bit of movement on the pipe, but obviously I just want to make sure that's in properly. It's easier, I believe, to get this in if you just lift the two pipes up a little bit, and then you can see where you're pushing things in. That is now on. Just be careful with your wiring. Just make sure that when you put in the batwing in, everything locates properly. That looks pretty much like it's located okay, because again, you have silicone seals on this. Clip your wiring back on and do the retainer. Same on this side, on the one that's underneath. Now don't forget to tighten up your inlet hose clamp. Just give that a little push back to make sure it's seated correctly, and then just make sure that is super tight. The bottom hose you need to make sure is in and located, which I believe it is, but I'm just going to have a proper check. Yeah, I believe so. That is in and under the inlet. Yep. That one's in, that one is exactly where it should be. On this side, I just need to check the seal, because this one isn't wanting to sit in as easily as the other side. So I just think that something's not quite where it should be. I'm just seeing if I can see what's holding it off. I believe it is just there we go. And then clip those back in. You need to make sure, obviously, that everything is located properly with no leaks on the gaskets, otherwise it will cause you running issues. So we've now got everything back where it should. As I always like to do on anything like this, because you don't want to damage things at a later date. Little blob of grease in each of the connector holes for the little rubber grommets. So we can now carefully lay the ECU back down and clip it back in. So that is all clipped back in. I prefer to do this job without releasing those. I don't like disconnecting ECUs, and to disconnect the battery on this, it's under the seat. It's a bit awkward, so I prefer not to do it that way. We should now all be good. I am going to just start it. I want to check that we don't have any diesel leaks, obviously. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go and press the ignition now without pressing the brake. And what that should do is when we get the full ignition on, what that should do, you can hear it priming the diesel pump, diesel filter now, which is what we want in. And then I always do it a second time just to be 100% sure. So I'll let that settle back down, and then 2 presses of your start button again. What that's doing is again filling the pump with diesel. Filling the filter with diesel, should I say. And I'm just keeping an eye, you can see the fuel pipes under the ECU. So what I'm going to do now is start it. It should start straight up, but it may crank a few times. So it has started straight up. So it's nice that this is one that primes itself. And what I'm going to do now is basically keep a good eye on this and just make sure that we don't have any leaks. Run it for 5-10 minutes, make sure we have no leaks, and then basically put the cover back on, and then that is the job done. I hope this has helped somebody who is looking to do the fuel filter on one of these models. If you have enjoyed the video and it has helped you, please give it a like, and obviously we'd always appreciate you to subscribe. It helps us keep these videos coming. We're trying to help people do some jobs. Times are hard at the minute. Not everybody's got the money to do their own, to do the servicing at the garages. So we are trying to help people. They can save a bit of money and do some things like this at home. See you on the next one.